I'm going to try to do a little weekly hello to you and post it with the assignment. I hope this all works. It'll be a little YouTube video to just basically talk about the things we're talking about this week in our class. And this week we're looking at the physical layout of North America. You got the intro last week, and this week we're looking at the physical aspects of North America that are really fascinating. This is an incredibly resource-rich continent, and your forum asks you to reflect on that resource richness. In terms of the landscapes of North America and the physical layout of North America, when I do this as a face-to-face experience, I do this east to west thing, and just to bring this to your mind, and you can use this in thinking about North America as you go from east to west. It's dramatic landscape changes as you move from east to west. In terms of the landscapes, from the eastern beginnings, you are in the southeastern coastal plain, which really extends all the way from Texas up to basically New York City. That's where your southeastern coastal plain. It narrows as you move north towards New York, but this is where most of us are living, on the southeastern coastal plain, which is resource rich in terms of agriculture and timber and some other resources, and fisheries and things like that. This is where your beaches are, and nice beaches from barrier islands and that sort of thing, from Alabama and Texas and the Carolinas. But and then continuing to the west, into the interior, and this is where Europeans first planted themselves, was really on the southeastern coastal plain. And then you head west from there into the Appalachian Mountains, which some of you will have been to if you've been to Dollywood or Great Smoky Mountains or any place like that, or even to the Ozarks or the Ouachita Mountains. Those are part of this same system. They're removed from it by the Mississippi River, but they're all part of the same system, and the bulk of the Appalachian Highlands extend all the way from Alabama up to Canada. So this is a long north-south trending mountain range, created through folding. Your book will mention that, I believe. Folding. Folding is a very slow process of compression in which you get the crust, which basically folds up under pressure. And that gives you some beautiful rolling ridge and valley landscapes that you've probably seen. These aren't tall, towering mountains. They're older mountains, but they're created through this folding process, and creates these beautiful valleys that you can visit in like Western Virginia and West Virginia. That's your Appalachian Mountains, resource rich in terms of coal and timber and some natural gas and things like that. And then continuing to the west, you come into that vast interior lowlands of North America that's drained from the Mississippi River, not the longest river in the world, but carrying a tremendous amount of water as it makes its way to the Gulf of Mexico, just draining this incredible watershed. The longest river is not in that watershed is not the Mississippi, but is in fact the Missouri, which goes deep into towards the Rocky Mountains. Mississippi is a tremendous north to south draining river, which creates a tremendous highway that really no other place on earth has anything like this, and that's the kind of thing we should appreciate. And that interior is also drained through by the Great Lakes. These are water resources that no other continent has anything like this. This is just an incredible resource available to us here in North America. This is your grain production zone of corn and wheat in this interior lowland. I mean, you'll see corn being grown in Louisiana, but that's small potatoes. This is that upper Midwest with corn and wheat. The corn being grown largely for animal production, animal consumption, the wheat for human consumption. Just a little dichotomy there of what agriculture resources are used for. The corn is used for animal fattening, and even there in Natchitoches, we have the corn processing thing over there on the bypass. That's really for chicken, to create chicken feed. Um, Wheat is consumed largely by humans. Those are huge, huge farms, huge farms in the interior lowlands. Um, Wetter in the east, dries out as you move to the west. And then you come to the Rocky Mountains, which are incredibly tall, towering mountains, which are resource rich in terms of mineral resources like silver and some gold were found in those mountains, and just incredibly but rugged, and create a tremendous barrier to movement as you move from east to west. Um, with mountain passes that can be used, but it's incredibly rugged. And these are mountains created by faulting, which is a much more dramatic process, not necessarily quick. You're talking about tectonic processes that occur over literally millions of years, but this is where you're getting that up thrust of the crust. It's cracked and raised up. And that's why you get rock from the interior being exposed, meaning it's going to be rocky. So you get these rocky landscapes associated with the Rocky Mountains. Then you continue to the west into the interior basin and range, as it's sometimes called, bowls and ridges. That's the basin and range, where you have Great Salt Lake and the Bonneville Salt Flats and other things like that. And it's incredibly dry interior, dry because it's sitting in a dramatic rain shadow created by the next thing I'm going to mention, the Pacific coastal ranges. But those interior basin and range province, that's a area of dramatic, the arches and these other kind of just dramatic physical features that are cut by wind, and the occasional water that just dramatically makes for some beautiful scenery there in that interior basin and range province. And then finishing to the west, you come to the Pacific coastal ranges that are created through what's called subduction, in which you get tectonic plates, one being subducted under the other. And as it's subducted, you get the raising up or the crumpling of that edge of the other plate. So that's subduction that's going on. And that creates these Pacific coastal ranges that run all the way from California up to Alaska. And you don't get much of a coastal plain there. You get really small beaches, rockier beaches than what you have. And for instance, if you've been to Alabama, the beaches around there, Gulf Shores or Orange Beach, those kind of beaches, those are sandy beaches. You're not going to get that on the West Coast. Those are much different beaches. So what I'm just wanted to make clear is that this is a dramatic continent on which we are living, with dramatic, incredible resources. And as I emphasize oftentimes when I'm doing this face-to-face, these are resources no one can take from us. People, other countries, China, Russia, and others can do all kinds of things, but they can't take our resources that come from these dramatic landscapes. And I don't go into Canada much. Canada has many of these same physical regions that I've just talked about, with the inclusion of the Canadian Shield, which is an area of very hard rock, iron-based, with iron being close to the surface, which is mined and turned into steel. So the Canadian Shield is another physical region that you'll see in the textbook mentioned. So North America, just a dramatic landscapes, dramatic resources available to it. And I just wanted to say hello, have a good week. These are the kind of things I want to keep you thinking about as we go forward. And if you're going to teach this kind of stuff, you're going to want to be able to discuss these various physical regions and the resources available in North America as you give students an appreciation, give kids an appreciation for the continent on which we live. And not just the country, but the continent on which we live, with its dramatic resources available to us to treasure, to utilize, but also to protect. And so I just wanted to say hello. and give you this. This is something I'm going to try this semester, giving you a video welcome every week. So have a good week. If you have any issues, contact me.